Good morning, Glenn.
Dude, what's going on?
Well, it's another wonderful smoking hot day in Phoenix.
Smoking. Yeah.
Hey, Glenn, I just read an article that ASA, which is...
You can read?
Well, it was audio.
Okay. That's it.
So
That's what I got to use.
ASA...
I'd take
you know what
every
ASA
crutch
is?
I can.
Do you know what ASA is?
ASA?
ASA?
That's like NASA without the N.
It's Automotive Service Association. Glenn?
It's the National Aeronautics Space Association.
No,
without,
it's not, Glenn. No, it's
without-
not. No, it's not. We are in the automotive industry.
Automotive industry.
Let's go back to the automotive
Okay.
industry and get out of NASA.
All right.
So,
From NASA to ASA.
Yes.
All right, got it.
So they just won a big deal for right to repair.
How much did they win?
Well, they didn't win anything, but
Okay.
except for they won the consumer one.
I like monetary
Actually,
wins
the
myself.
consumer one, Glenn.
Yes.
And this happened. I know you're old enough because you're way older than me
Shit.
to remember this. Is 30 years
I'm
ago.
older than the dirt under my feet here. I
Yeah,
think.
dirt's young. And 30 years ago, they tried this to where when the computer systems came out, you remember when OBD1 came out?
Oh,
and
yes.
those computers and all this electronic stuff started coming out. Well, we needed access to all the wiring diagrams, the diagnostic procedures. Well, at that point, they wanted to basically keep it in-house and basically not let the independent repair shops have it.
Right, only the dealerships had that
Right.
proprietary information that they didn't want to
Right.
release to us little guys.
So they basically were squeezing us out. But you and I, Glenn, you own a shop, I own a shop. We're not competitors, we're allies, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right, and
we're
the thing
buds
is-
in the business. If I get jammed up and one of your guys over at your place has some information that would be helpful to move us forward and get
Absolutely.
a job done, we share that information. We don't say, oh, well, how much are you willing to pay me for it? And that's really what the whole
And
OE thing is all about.
you and I can go to any street corner and count the cars driving by, and you and I both know neither one of us can fix them all. We just can't. We need each other, and the consumer needs each other more than important than we need each other, because the consumer has options. And the thing of it is if you get it down to where it's going to be proprietary, to where only certain people have the information and the diagnostic ability to do it, what do you think that's going to do? The costs are going to go even higher because it's going to be a monopoly.
Exactly. The monopoly, when you hold all the cards, if you want something done, okay, we can do it, but it's going to cost you. It's almost like a mafia thing.
Right. And the thing of it is the consumer really wins when they have options and they have choices. The consumer wins. And that's important. To me, it's really important. As a consumer, I'm also a consumer, but I own an auto repair shop, and I don't have the auto repair concerns that a lot of clients have. But it's really important. And they just went ahead and they fought again because there's some new systems coming out.
Man, called telematics.
Telematics.
Self-driving
ADAS,
cars,
yeah.
all kinds of stuff like that. The original equipment manufacturers, we call them the OEs, don't want to divulge that information because we might use it for evil purposes.
Well, and I think it's all monetary. I don't think it's about evil purposes. I think it's just all monetary. And
I get it. I'm just.
I know what you're saying.
I'm being a.
Yeah. But you're right. I mean, to a certain degree, they're coming up with all these other reasons to basically not let us have that information. And basically, you and I, we want to protect the consumer. I mean, because we're consumers. We want to make sure that the customer has options. Go where you want to go to get your car fixed. And it's no different than, we talked about body shops before. Body shops, the insurance companies want to steer everybody into their preferred shops. Well, as a consumer, if I want to go to a different body shop because I trust them more, I should be able to do that. And you do have the right to do that.
Exactly. Well, part of the problem, too, with telematics and all this other stuff, not just telematics in and of itself, but the programming that goes into cars. I mean, many cars have 20, 30, 50 modules inside. All of them have to communicate with each other and so on. And as time goes on, they get more and more sophisticated. So even though we can diagnose those components and we can replace those components, once they're installed, they don't work, do they?
Nope.
They have to be programmed.
Yep. It's not plug and play. And
Exactly.
we're getting there. I mean, I think someday we're going to get to the point where a lot of that stuff's going to be plug and play. Maybe not, but I think we're working towards that.
I don't know if they want to let go of that cash grab though.
Yeah.
And that's true because either the vehicle has to be reprogrammed by a dealer who's got all the programs to do it, or we have to purchase the equipment to be able to download that information from the OEs, or you have to bring in a third-party guy who's got all the equipment and the sophistication and the knowledge and the experience to be able to do that for you, and we have to pay them to do it.
Right.
So you have mobile programmers.
And we do it all in-house. And I think you guys do too. We do all our programming in-house. And we just like it better because sometimes just programming it sometimes isn't the fix. Sometimes we have to do other things. Sometimes we have to do a little bit more diagnosis. And if you call somebody out to just do the programming, they just do the programming, and then you're stuck still with, if the car doesn't run, you still got to figure out why it doesn't run. So there's other things you've got to do too in some cases.
Right. And so every step of that costs money. And that's what that's what the consumers don't understand. You know, we pay for the training to do the programming. We pay for the programming programs, the downloads from the dealerships, the OEs, if you will. They're not really literally dealerships, but it's the OEs. It's their computer system. It has all of that downloadable. And so every time you go into their system, you pay a monthly fee, then you pay a per-use fee, and all this other stuff. And all of those costs have to be passed on ultimately to the person who owns the car.
Well, all that technology is just, when it breaks, it's just more expensive. I get customers that buy a brand new car and they got all these bells and whistles on it and buttons and all these things that they do. And all I do is see dollar
shriek.
signs. Yeah, I just see dollar signs.
I shriek. It's like, oh my God. You love all the technology until it starts breaking.
Yeah, once it starts breaking, then it's expensive.
Holy crap.
And then, so we're and technology is changing so fast. So the old technology is no longer good, and sometimes you can't even get the software. Sometimes you have to, change the software. It's a real challenge for us, but we need to be able to have the access to do it.
Right. And so what the ASA has done is they won a battle in federal court to beat the OEs, the original manufacturers who want to keep all of that information proprietary. So we don't have access, so we can't fix the cars. But Dave, what in the world would happen if all of a sudden all the locally owned shops, especially the good ones, just decided we're not going to fix cars anymore? We'd close the doors, retire, go do something else.
It'd be total chaos for the consumer.
There'd be no way on God's earth that all the cars, the millions, literally, there's I think 2.5 to 3 cars for every American citizen here. So we have over, we have 300 million people here, right? So that means we have almost 900 million cars in
You
this
would just have a
country.
lack of service. That's the problem. And the thing of it is it would take you months to get your car fixed. And it's not.
In some cases, it's weeks right now.
Right, it is totally weeks. But
because our industry is shrinking, both at the OE level. There's less techs, there's less shops that are open, more are closing, more don't want to spend the money, more don't want to get the training, more don't want to do the kind of things that it requires to be relevant in this industry anymore.
Right, absolutely. And it's expensive to be in this industry, but like you said, the guys that are doing it right out there, taking care of the customers, giving their customer service, and consumers need their car. I mean, they got to get their kids to school. They got to get their, Tommy's got to go to soccer practice. They got so many things going on. They got to get to work. Their lives are busy. And for them to lose their car for a month, a week, it totally disrupts their lives. It makes things more difficult.
And no one's got enough loaner cars anywhere at the dealer. In fact, for many, many years, I guess some of them have started doing it again, but there were no loaner cars. It's like, well, there's Uber, there's Lyft, there's taxis, have a nice day, sorry. They won't even give you a ride home. So, the concierge stuff has become probably more prevalent in the independent shop industry than it is in the dealerships.
No doubt about it.
We accommodate, pamper our customers, and it's not a show. It's not a dog and pony show. It comes from our heart. It's not because we feel obligated to do it. It's because we want to do it.
Right, absolutely. We love the business, and we love the industry, and we love our clients, and we love our people that work for us.
Most of them, anyway.
Yeah, most of them, yeah.
Every so often you get that thorn in your butt that, you just as soon had never graced your threshold, but...
Well, yeah, we deal with that. When you're dealing with the public, you run into that once in a while, but thank God it doesn't happen very often.
Yeah, it's less, one in 1,000.
But Glenn, I'm such a wealth of knowledge, right?
Yes, sir.
You didn't sound real positive about
That's
that.
why I respect you, Dave.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
sticking
No,
my
and
tongue
as
out
you're
at
rolling
you,
your
yeah.
eyes. Yeah. Did you know, Glenn, that there's 290.8 million vehicles on the road
I
of
said
as
300 million. I was only 10 million off.
well, that's close.
Well, I heard there was somewhere between 2.5 and 3 cars per household
Yeah.
per human being that lives in our country.
So that's a lot of cars on the road. And the thing of it is customers and our clients, we need options. As a consumer, we need options. And if we don't have those, and so we need to continually fight to make sure that the consumer wins in the end.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be like there's only okay. So when we were growing up, how many TV stations were there, Dave?
Did you actually grow up, Glenn?
Never grow up. That's against the rules.
There's 5, I think.
Okay. Well, I'm a little bit older than you, so we had actually 3, and then we had UHF, which was channel.
I think we had Channel 3, Channel 5, Channel 10, Channel 12, and then I think there was what did you say?
UHF.
UHF.
Channel, we
yeah.
had Channel 18. So, and I think Billy Joel makes Channel 8, Channel 13. What does
there
it mean
was
in one
Channel
of
8.
his
Yeah,
songs?
you're right. There was
Yeah.
Channel 8. I didn't
so,
think about that.
So there's all these different, channels.
Wasn't Channel 15 back then, I don't think.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's the same with, makes and models of vehicles and all the other things. What I'm alluding to is that, everything has exploded and expanded, and there's
Yeah,
so
now you got
much
400.
more.
You got 400 channels, but nothing's on.
Yeah, I mean, there's 400 channels that you have access to, and you can watch what you want, when you want,
Yeah,
from
yeah.
beginning to end. And people want those choices.
Yeah,
If they
absolutely.
didn't want them, they wouldn't be selling subscriptions up the wazoo to all these people, right?
Right.
So as the whole customer service thing, whether it's for TV stations or, online channels or whatever, or phones, whether it's
Well, streaming. Everybody's streaming nowadays.
yeah, smartphones and
Yeah.
iPads and all the stuff that's out there. I mean, our society is so much different. I mean, it was so much simpler when we were kids.
Right, absolutely, and we think the difference that I always tell my daughter this too is I go, the thing of it is it was simpler back then, but it was a little bit harder back then, because just think about getting information, what you had to do to find information.
Yeah.
You had to go to the library, you had to go to a college, or you had to go to get books. You had to buy these big giant
Well,
books
if
to
you-
look in there, try to find information.
If you had a problem or you were lost and you had to call home, you couldn't pull your phone out of your
Nope.
pocket and say,
Yeah.
hey, I'm broken down.
Nope.
You may have had to walk 5 or 10 miles or find a nearby house and knock on the door and hope they wouldn't shoot you, and that you just,
And back then, people
can I
were-
borrow your
yeah,
phone?
yeah.
My car broke down. Can I use your phone to try to call
Yeah.
my mom or my dad or my service guy and have them come and tow the car out? So all of that stuff has changed. But did you ever think that you'd pay over $1,000 for a telephone?
No.
No.
I didn't think I would pay $1 for a bottle of water.
Thank you. So here's the deal. I mean, people are so price sensitive when it comes to fixing their cars, but when they think about having $1,000 phone or more in their pocket,
Yeah.
and the TV on their wall now costs them over $1,000,
Yeah.
and and then they think we're expensive. We may not provide the kind of entertainment that they get on their phone or their TV and their streaming and stuff like that, but they don't depend on those things quite as much as they do their automobile, which gets them to and from work, to and from their vacations, to and from soccer practice or whatever. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they think that nothing in our industry should have ever changed. That's
Right.
that's what's always interesting.
Well, and I think that the thing that we need to make sure of is that the consumer does not compromise safety.
Exactly.
Because if you don't give us, the automotive industry, the ability to have the information to fix your vehicle correctly and safely,
And that information's not free?
right? It's none of it's free.
Really?
But
I didn't know that, Dave.
But my point, yeah, no, and you're right. Your point is that
Information costs us tens of thousands of dollars every year in our business.
right, and
period.
And why in the
Tens of thousands.
world would the consumer want to take their car in to somebody that doesn't have that information and have them basically guess? And that's what we're doing. And we
Yeah.
don't want to guess. So we don't want to compromise anybody's safety, and we want to do things right. So we want the information, and we want to make sure that we fix your car economically. You alluded to the price. The price would be a heck of a lot more if we just start throwing parts at it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what we tell people all the time. All that technology is wonderful, and it's great, and it helps us diagnose your car correctly and do it more economically than just guessing. And you know, some people go to the parts store and they have them, you know, diagnose their car, and
With that
guess what?
ticker tape list of 10
Yeah,
things
right,
that
right,
could be
right.
the problem and a bag full of parts.
You know how many people have come into my shop that have said, "Oh yeah, I took it over there and they told me to replace this, replace that." They replaced $800,000 worth of parts and didn't fix the problem. And that's to the point of cars have gotten so complex. You're right. It's harder and harder to diagnose them. You can't just lift the hood anymore and go, "Oh yeah, that's
Right.
broken."
Yeah, there's this thing called cause and effect. You know, you have an effect. Something is not working on your car, but the cause of the problem may not be a component. It could be a controller. It could be a computer. It could be wiring that has gotten too close to something hot, or someone else went in there and accidentally cut a wire, or some component was replaced and it didn't get plugged in right. So now you got this laundry list of stuff that you think you might need that's going to fix it. You think it's cheaper than going to a mechanic or a technician because they're going to charge me a boatload. When you just spend a boatload, now you're going to end up taking it with all your new parts on that didn't fix the problem.
Yeah. Well, and to wrap this thing up, Glenn, is the consumer really won in this ASA fight
Yep.
because the consumer is the one that won. And I'm so glad and I'm so happy that they fought this thing and they won because it's a win for the consumer.
Yeah, and I mean, and it's so far beyond our personal reach. We belong to these associations like ASA and some others because they're the ones out there fighting. You know, we pay a subscription every year so that they can go fight our battles for us. I don't have time to go to court and fight one guy against
Well,
the U.S.
we don't have the ability to
government
do it, Glenn. We don't
we
have
don't.
it takes lobbyists. It takes people that have, you know, it takes a lot of money to go up there and fight that
Money
major
and
engine up there,
knowledge,
you know?
and you know, how do you get what you want if you're just,
Yeah.
you know,
One person, yeah.
One
No, you got to
person.
be in a tribe. It's got to
Yeah.
be a tribe, and
Yeah.
that's the only way you're going to win.
And so, yeah, make sure that, you know, you're going to a place that subscribes to the ASA and other automotive associations. They're not such an independent shop that they don't think they need anybody else.
Well, and that's the thing, and I think we have come to, you know, you and I grew up in a society where we knew it took a village to.
You grew up?
No, I never grew up.
You're losing the battle. If you're growing up, man, you're-
I never grew up.
Oh,
But I mean,
good.
but when we were growing, I guess,
Yes.
is that we knew that we needed a village. And to help each other,
Absolutely.
and we all work together and try to help each other as much as we possibly can, and that's
Yeah,
just
you're
the
not
way
my
we're raised.
competition. You're my ally.
That's totally, I agree.
You are
100%.
totally my ally.
I 100%. So Glenn, let's wrap this show up, man. It's been a great show, and I'm glad we got to talk about a little bit more about the ASA and educate the consumer a little
you
bit
know,
on that.
And if our listeners out there have any questions or comments, you know, they can render those on our podcast. It's called podcastunderthehood.com. And you can leave your comments, questions, whatever, and we'd love to have you subscribe as well.
Yeah, subscribe definitely.
It
And
costs you nothing.
it costs you nothing. Like I said, we do take donations, but
Yeah, I mean a little
but-
bit of your time, but I think the knowledge and the wisdom that you will gain from listening to podcasts like ours. I'm not saying we're the only podcast out there that has automotive.
There's a
stuff in
lot
it,
of good
but-
podcasts out there. Absolutely.
But a lot of them are out there teaching you how to fix cars, and believe me, if you don't have a clue how to do it now, you might even be more confused when you're done with them, because they're guys who are at the level that we are. We're you know, master technicians, and we can talk way over your head. So we just bring, what we're trying to bring to you is a real consumer-based thing where you can find a great shop, take great care of your vehicle, know where to take it, places you can trust, and places that you can send your kids and your grandkids to someday, because there's that factor of trust and integrity.
Right, and if you want to hear anything or hear us talk about anything, please subscribe to us and go to Podcast Under the Hood with Glen and Dave and let us know what you want us to talk about. And we'd be happy to do the research on it, and we'll talk about it.
We'll be talking to you next time. Thanks again, Dave, for your time.
Yay, thanks, Glenn.